Buenas noches, clase. Today we're going to learn how to say where you live, and we're going to learn a lot more about subject pronouns. So let's first look about how to say where you live. Okay? If you wanted to say I live in, you would say it like this. Vivo en blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's like saying, I live in. If you wanted to say he or she lives in, it would be like this. Vive en. Okay, so that's he or she lives in. Again, so that is vivo en, and vive en. So you probably want to know how to say what kind of place you live in. So let's learn that. First of all, we have, oops, let me change it to a pen. I always do that. Okay. So we have la casa. La casa is a house. All right. And then the other one that you might live in is el apartamento. El apartamento, which is probably self-explanatory, but that is an apartment. Okay? So we have la casa, and el apartamento. El apartamento. All right? However, you should know something by now that I explained in class, but if not, pay attention right now, okay? Oh my word, I always do this. Okay, here we go. El and la, so either one of these both mean the. Okay, so this technically means the house and the apartment. Okay, the house and the apartment. If you wanted to say a house or an apartment, it would be either un or una, and that would follow the gender of the noun. Okay? So, let's go ahead and practice that. Instead of saying vivo en la casa, that would be like saying, I live in the house. So instead, we would want to do something like this. Take this out here and say, vivo en una casa. Una casa. Now remember, this is una because casa is feminine. Okay? But if instead I said, vivo come on, here we go, vivo en el apartamento, I live in the apartment, we could take out el and change it to be un. Now this is masculine here. Un is masculine because this is masculine. Okay? So that first sentence, vivo en una casa, says, I live in a house. The second sentence says, vivo en un apartamento, I live in an apartment. Okay? Or you could say, vive en una casa. Vive en una casa would be he or she lives in a house. Or vive en un apartamento, he or she lives in an apartment. All right, let's move on to subject pronouns. Subject pronouns I introduced to you the other day in class, but I told you I would explain it again in a video. Okay, so quickly I'm going to review them and I'll kind of say how you should know them. Okay, so we have yo, which is I, tú, which is you. Good, you. We have él, which is he. We have ella, which is she. So again, I'll review each of these. Yo, tú, él, ella. All right. Then we have usted, which is you, but it's the formal you, if you remember that from the last video, the formal you. Okay. We have nosotros, which is we. We have vosotros, which is technically you all, but this is the one that I told you they really only use it in Spain, so we're not going to really use it, okay? You're more than welcome to learn it if you want to, but I will not be testing you over it. And then lastly, we have ellos or ellas, okay, which means they, depending on the gender, and ustedes, which would be you all. Technically, this is the formal version, but this is actually the version that we would most likely use in day-to-day conversation. So we have usted, nosotros, ellos, ellas, and ustedes. Okay, if you remember in class, I divided it up into a chart. So here's my chart. Okay. And this is what I said we'll do. We'll put the yo up here, the tú right here, él, ella, it's hard to write small with this, and usted here, nosotros here, vosotros in this one, and then ellos or ellas, and ustedes here. Okay? So, again, we're probably not going to use this one hardly ever, so don't worry about that. But what are the reasons that we have them in this order? Hopefully you remember that. These ones, all down here, are, yep, singular. Okay, I can't write. Okay, singular. And then these ones down here are plural. Okay, so yo, I, you, he, she, usted, which is you formal, are all singular, and then we, they, and you all are all plural. Then likewise, here we have first person, here we have second person, and these ones are third person. So we always divide them into this chart because then when we have a verb, we can put it in the chart and know what it's going to follow. Okay, so for example, a verb that we already have done is yo estoy, tú estás, él, ella, usted está. Okay, those three you should already know. This stands for I am, you are, he, she is. Okay, and then I told you in class I would go ahead and write in the other ones. So it's nosotros estamos and ellos, ustedes están. All right. Now, if I wanted to enter that in for a different verb, we'll look at some different ones later on. But let me just show you really quickly here. Let me erase a couple of these and show you one that we're actually doing with this lesson right here. So that was with the verb estar, which means to be. Estar means to be. Okay, but what did I teach you at the beginning of this lesson? I live, right? I live. So if you wanted to do this with the verb vivir, which means to live, you could say yo vivo, like you know, And then you also learned this one, él, ella, usted vive. I'll go ahead and write in the other ones just so you can see it. It would be tú vives, nosotros vivimos, and ellos or ustedes viven. Okay, now those follow a pattern. We're actually going to talk about that later on, but I just wanted to introduce the concept to you now because you really need to get used to this chart in general. That's going to be a really common chart that you're going to see all of the time. Okay, so what I need you to do is I need you to memorize these subject pronouns. You need to memorize the subject pronouns. Those are really important. All right, so I know that's a lot, but I'm proud of you. So we'll get a buen trabajo. Buen trabajo, clase. And I will see you tomorrow. Hasta mañana. Adiós.